Is Florida going to do away with property taxes? Well, that's what I want to talk to you all about today. Okay, I do have notes, so please forgive me if I look down just to kind of get my bullet points straight. Now, Florida is a great state to live in. We know that. We have the beach, we have the weather, we don't have traffic, we have the lifestyle. It's like living in 1950s Mayberry. It's just wonderful. But now we are looking at eliminating property tax when we already are one of only a handful of a handful of states that don't have personal income tax. But now we're looking at doing away with residential property taxes on homesteaded homes. Okay, there's issues to go along with that, so let's talk about those. Governor DeSantis, who I think is wonderful, wants to eliminate property taxes for residents, primary resident homeowners in the state of Florida. Now, what does that mean? To recap on what a homestead is, for those of you that live out of state and are not aware of it, when you buy a home in Florida, if it is your primary residence, then what happens is that you file with the county to homestead. And that means that your driver's license is linked to that address, that your voter registration is linked to that property, and that you live in the house, in that home, over half of the year. Okay? If you do that, you get a reduction. You get a reduction in your property taxes, which is very nice. And again, you have to live in it for at least 6 months and 1 year of the year. 6 months and 1 day of the year. Okay? So this exemption of property tax is only going to affect people that live in Florida. It will not affect second homes. It will not affect any investment property. So if you have a home, but you have another home or a couple of condos that you rent out, the condos and the property that you rent out will not be affected by this. You will still have to pay income tax on that. It will not be available for out-of-state owners. It will not be available for snowbirds. For foreign buyers, not going to happen. Corporate homes, not going to happen. And any homes that are owned by hedge funds. Only people that live in the state of Florida and own their homes are going to be able to take advantage of this hopefully new change to our Constitution. And that's really what it is. It's not just a law that Governor DeSantis can put on the books. It has to go through something called a joint resolution, which would be voted on by the residents of Florida in November of 2026. Once we get what we call a supermajority, which means 60% of voters have to agree to it. It's not just a simple majority of over 50%. We have to have a supermajority. Then what happens is that Governor DeSantis signs it into law, and it actually changes the state constitution. So it's part of our state constitution, and that there will not be property taxes for homeowners that own their homes and that live in them as their primary residence. Now, why would anybody not want to do away with property taxes? Oh, I can tell you, local and county politicians don't want this to pass. They don't want this to go anywhere. And why? You see, that property taxes don't go to the state of Florida. They stay in the city and the county that the property is in, okay? And so since no money goes to the state of Florida and it stays within the county, I should mention one other thing. It does not go, the property tax funds that are collected from property taxes do not go to schools. It does not go to maintaining roads. It does not go to the police. It does not go to firefighters or other first responders. So it truly, those funds are already secured elsewhere. Property taxes just go to the city and county that the property is in, okay? So this is where the problem starts. Let's get caught up on this. The state of Florida, we have a CFO, and his name is Blaise Ingoglia, and I think he's pretty awesome. What he did is he created something called Florida Doge. Now, you may be familiar with Doge on a federal level. Well, he did the same thing in Florida, looking for government waste and pork that's wasting your money and my money. And what he's looking at is he was looking at this on the city and the county level. Okay, there's some very disturbing facts that he found. He found absolutely enormous waste. City and county politicians do have their hands in the cookie jar, which is a big problem. They have pet projects, fake fees, and there was massive waste. In some places, in some areas, it was just straight out fraud. And they don't want to give that up because it's money out of their pocket. And this is not something that is party-based. This is happening both on the Democratic side and the Republican side of the aisle, which is basically, it's pervasive throughout the entire political community. Florida has 67 counties. Okay, Blaise Ngoli has only gone through and audited 9, and in that he found $1.5 billion of wasted money, and that's just in 9 counties. I mean, we've got 67. He's got more to go, but he did start with the big ones. Okay, Palm Beach County was the worst offender with $344 million of waste in overspending that did not need to be there. It was just going to pet projects, NGOs, nonprofits, things like that. Miami-Dade's budget has increased by 50% in the last 6 years, but the population, I guarantee you, has not increased by 50% as well. So where's this extra money going to? Bureaucrats, they're hiring basically workers. This is not going to you, it's not going to me, it's not going to our kids, okay? Hillsborough County, which is around Tampa, wasted almost $279 million, which was a 56% increase from 2019, just 6 years ago. Excessive spending has nothing to do with an increase in population. It has to do with greed and politicians wanting more money into their own personal pockets. Let me give you one example. In Hillsborough County, which I just referenced, we have a representative there by the name of Diane Hart. She's in the House of Representatives representing Hillsborough County. And she's also on the House Select Committee for Property Tax Reform. Okay, so she's on the county that is evaluating whether or not property taxes should be eliminated. Now remember this, because Hillsborough County, in their budget, Blaise Ngoli found that there was $100,000 annually that has been and is slated to continue going forward, going to a nonprofit organization. Okay, guess who's the CEO of this nonprofit? Diane Hart. Do you think that someone that's getting $100,000 in her own pocket and is also on the Committee for Property Tax Reform, do you think that might be possibly a conflict of interest? I certainly do, okay? Broward County has a population of 1.9 million people, and that number has not changed significantly in the last 5 or 6 years. But in the last 5 years, the budget has increased by 60%. Where's the money going? We already know it's not going to maintain roads. It's not going to schools. Remember, it's not going to the police. It's not going to firefighters. It's not going to our first responders. It is going to the city and the county for other things. Let's talk about what some of those things are, okay? In Orlando, this one just kills me. Orlando last year spent $400,000 to count trees. That's right. There was a $400,000 line item in the budget to take a tree inventory. I think we could have used that $400,000 elsewhere. Orange County spent over $220,000 for LGBTQ youth services that promote gender identity. Give me a break. Alachua County gave money to Planned Parenthood for something called Teen Time, which promotes gender identity for kids as young as 13. Now, if you're a parent, do you want to talk to your kids about their gender identity yourselves, or do you want somebody at Planned Parenthood doing that? I don't have kids, but if I did, it's no one else's business but mine to have that conversation with my children, okay? All in all, there's been a $24 billion increase in the last 6 years. And this is from property taxes. Excuse me, I've got something on my lip. Let's put that into perspective, okay? Now, if you take dollars and you turn them into seconds, there's 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, that type of thing. If you took 1 million seconds, okay, 1 million seconds in the past, that puts you back 11 days, okay? If you take that up to 1 billion seconds, that takes you back to 1994. And we're talking about billions of dollars that have been put an increase on the budgets of our counties. For what? We don't know. We don't know where this money is going to. So what do we need? We need what is called a clear joint resolution. That means it goes on the ballot, in November of 2026, like less than a year from now, okay? And it needs to be what I like to call a naked bill, also called a single issue bill. Instead of putting all these other little things attached to it, when you go to the ballot, you have something like, do you want property taxes for Florida residents to be eliminated on their primary residence? That's it. That's all it says. If you put that on, that's a yes or no question. We don't have to worry about a $10 million bridge going to wherever. It's not going to be a part of it. When you have a single issue bill with a yes or no question, it's going to be a lot easier to get to the supermajority of 60%, which we need. We're having a lot of these politicians that are putting in alternative bills that they also want to put on the ballot. So some people will vote for this, some people will vote for that. There's one of the propositions basically says that only people over 65 would have their property taxes eliminated, except they would pay towards the schools. Well, that's not eliminating your property taxes. It's not. So we need one clear bill on the ballot in 2026, November of 2026, to make this stand out so we can get our supermajority. We don't want politicians to have monetary incentive to do anything that was going to muddy up a clear joint resolution. Okay, remember, we need 60% votes needed. So what can you do? Well, you can forward this video to your friends or people that don't really understand. They hear about this property tax elimination, but they don't understand it. They don't know what's going on, okay? If there's anybody that you think that would benefit from this information, please forward the video to them. And I'm always available for questions if anyone has them. Call or email your representatives and tell them that you want a clear joint resolution. If we don't tell the people that we vote in what we want, they're going to continue doing what they want. They're going to continue wasting your money and mine, and they're going to have their hand in the cookie jar. And as in the situation of Diane Hart, a serious conflict of interest, okay? So I'm going to put a link in my bio to a page where you can find out who you can either email or call to make your feelings known about Florida property tax reform, okay? Please, if you haven't, please subscribe to this page. It really helps us out. And this way I can bring you more straightforward information like this going forward. If you forward and like the video, more people will see it on their YouTube channel, on YouTube when they go to turn it on their phone or on the TV. Okay. If there's anything else that you would like me to touch on in future videos, please let me know in the comments. I will be more than happy to discuss anything that you guys want to hear. Okay. So thank you for spending this time with me concerning what I consider this very important issue, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.